tobacco. He is 5'6". He weighs 120 pounds. He has high cholesterol. He has high blood pressure, and he's had 2 heart attacks. Any of that sound vascular? Sure does. So we're going to put an X next to vascular. And then at 89, he has now reached the category where 1 and 2 would have Alzheimer's, but is a late onset Alzheimer's. And he certainly has done enough damage to his brain and body throughout his lifetime. So I'm going to put an X by number 2. For my father, I go back for 9, 7, 3, 2, and 1. You should be more surprised that your person has 1 dementia than you should be surprised that they have multiple dementias, because that is much more common. You with me? Okay. So get this ready to go to your doctor, because who knows them better? And what I see more and more is doctors don't do the full 28 tests that are required. They give them a test never meant for dementia, and then they tell you they've got mild cognitive impairment. Yet in our country, most people, by the time they're diagnosed, are actually in stage 5 of the disease. And if you're here today, your loved one is at least in stage 5 of the disease, because up until now, you didn't need to find out any information and they seemed okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, these are 2 brains. These were 72-year-old men. They had the same college education. They worked in the same field. One aged normally, one did not. This is why we don't quiz people with dementia. Do you know who I am? Do you remember me? Well, if I knew who you were and I remembered you, I wouldn't have dementia, would I? You see how silly that is? We don't go up to people with COPD and demand they blow up balloons because they used to. Does that make sense? Okay. This is why we don't quiz them. This is why they can't see. And you should make a special note if your person has Parkinson's or Lewy bodies. It can be right in front of them and they can't see it. They're not pretending. They cannot see that thing in front of them. Okay? This is why they, if they think it, they say it. So if you're wondering, does this dress make me look fat? Come on in. We'll ask the ladies and they'll happily tell you, you look awful. Okay? If they think it, they say it. Not because they're being rude, but because of brain damage. And we don't shame them and we don't correct them, because that's a dignity issue. They're not doing this on purpose. It's brain damage. And this is why they can't communicate. Okay? By stage 5 of the disease, we believe your loved one understands 3 out of 4 words. By the end of stage 5, we think they understand 1 or 2 words out of 10. By stage 6 and 7, they're responding to your tone and pitch of voice, because 90% of our communication is body language, how we look and how we sound. Does that make sense to everybody? No, nobody shook their head, so I don't know whether to back up or go forward. Everybody with me? Okay, all right. Now, caregivers, you got to have socialization too. It's critical. It is absolutely critical to your own health and to you surviving the disease. Having socialization lets you focus on the present. Don't start going, what if, what if, what if? That's anxiety. That's the future. Don't go coulda, woulda, shoulda. That's the depression. Okay, sir, do you need to move up where you can hear? Can you hear? Come on and move up here. Come on up here. We got a chair right up here for you. And are you a veteran, sir?
Yes, sir.
That man right there is a veteran. I don't know if you need to salute him or he needs to salute you, but that gentleman right there is a veteran. All right, so let's just do what they did. Turn and introduce yourself to someone. I'm Tam. Irwin. Tam. Miss Rita? Tam. Sir? Nice to meet you, Art. Carolyn? Nice to meet you. Seal? Great name. Nice to meet you. Mark? Whoops. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. It's good to see you again, too. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. God bless our support groups. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. It is my pleasure. Nice to meet you. Oh, how are you? Nice to meet you, Beverly. Hello, Kelly. Karen, Kelly, Beverly. Okay. John? Did you outrank him? Did you outrank him?
Navy Army. We didn't go.
Navy Army? Sir, I'm sorry. Put a Navy guy right next to you. So sorry. Hey, I know y'all don't like each other. I've seen that football game every year. Y'all are mean. Woo. Now, doesn't that room feel different now? Doesn't this group feel different now? And what caused that? 3 seconds of socialization. Okay? Now, having your person here means that you have time to get your rest. It means you're going to be a better caregiver when they come home. Okay? It means that when you socialize with them, you're not so exhausted that your voice is sharp and you're being short with them and you don't mean to be. You're just exhausted. And then you can help your loved one with a task or activity without being exhausted. And you can have time together without less stress because it is a terminal disease and it continues every day. And tomorrow, your loved one will wake up with fewer brain cells than they had today. Okay? So every good moment you can get it. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, here's the lobes of the brain, and each one of these lobes does certain things. And that is how Catherine knows what medicine to give your loved one, because only that lobe does that thing. Have y'all met Catherine? For years, a lady would call me from Florida. Oh, don't applaud her yet. Not yet. No, not yet. A lady would call me from Florida named Catherine, and we would talk about dementia. And I always thought, this is a fascinating lady. Who is she? And then one day, after years, she said, well, I'm Catherine McDermott. And I dropped what I was holding. And I said, you're Catherine McDermott? The Catherine McDermott? The leading expert? To me, she is. She is one of the leading experts on how to medicate your person with dementia. Don't say the word Harvard to her. She's a very touchy Yale person. But here, one of the owners is one of the most dedicated and educated people about dementia. And while I don't do medicine, she does. Okay? So make use of your local resource. Now, each of these lobes does certain things, but for you to learn new information, the hippocampus must function. Alzheimer's starts right here in the motor cortex. What do you think the motor cortex lets you do? Move your body, right? Everybody with dementia falls. It's not because they're not trying, it's brain damage. It goes here, then it hits the premotor cortex, then it swings around and destroys the hippocampus. And that's what makes memory. And once that's destroyed, it doesn't matter how many times you tell them that information, they cannot learn it, even though they still don't look sick. And we've been taught all our lives, if a person is sick, they look sick, except in dementia, where they don't look sick. Once this is gone, your loved one will begin to repeat things. The same information over and over, the same story over and over, the same question over and over. When is the doctor's appointment? It's at 3. Okay, great. When is the doctor's appointment? It's still at 3. Great. One day I drove a man across from Lakeway, Texas to Austin, Texas, where he lived. He took him to the neurologist. He's 96-year-old retired Air Force colonel, so another branch of the military. And as we got in the vehicle to go home, and he's been mine now for 2 years. He sees me all the time. And he says to me, so, are you married? And I said, yes, sir. I'm married to a retired colonel just like you. He said, were you ever at the Pentagon? I said, yes, sir. The Pentagon was the last placement, last duty station. He said, well, do you have children? I said, no, sir. Never had children. He said, isn't it a lovely day? I said, it's a beautiful day. A couple of minutes later, he said, so, are you married? And I just kept making my answers longer and longer. Yes, sir. I'm married to a colonel just like you, but mine's Army. Yours is Air Force. You know how that goes. He goes, yeah. Were you ever at the Pentagon? Yes, sir. That was our last duty station. In fact, when the Pentagon was attacked on 9/11, that was my colonel's general and staff that were killed. My colonel was at an offsite that day. But within 24 hours, my colonel had the G1 of the Army up and running, and that's human resources so that we could get people into place. He said, do you have any children? And I said, no, sir, but I got wonderfully brilliant schnauzers. And he said, isn't it a lovely day? And I said, oh, the blue bonnets, the Indian paintbrushes, it's just a beautiful day here in Austin. And a few minutes later, he said, and then he said, and as we're going along, I had a 45-minute drive and I just kept making the answers more and more elaborate. We had the best conversation. And I thought, I understand what he's doing. He's simply being polite. His hippocampus doesn't exist anymore. And we're just having a polite social conversation. But how many families haven't been told this and they're mad at their person and yelling at them to stop that? You already asked me that. Just answer it over and over again, same happy voice, and understand it's the disease. And if it helps you, if it helps a family member, tell them to think of it like brain cancer. Okay? Brain cancer destroys the brain. This diseases destroy the brain. But you and I have been taught to think differently about brain cancer. My grandfather got cancer, lung cancer, small oat cell carcinoma. Okay? It metastasized to his bones and his brain. My grandmother said, I want to go look at the cattle on the other side of the ranch. And right about then, one of my aunts came along with a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. And 3 grown adults said, we'll leave those little boys with Papa. We'll go check the cows. So we're 600 acres over on another place. And all of a sudden, we hear my grandmother's car coming through a pasture, bouncing over rocks, running over cedar trees, hitting things. Nanny had to get a new car when this was over. And in the back seat were 2 little boys screaming, go faster, Papa, go faster, Papa. Now, when he got to us, if he had had dementia, who would have been mad at him? All 3 of us would have been mad at him, because didn't he know not to do this? But instead he had brain cancer. And all 3 of us looked at each other and said, I can't believe we're this stupid. He has brain cancer, and we left him with car keys and children. Okay? Because we were taught differently how to think about cancer, and nobody explained dementia to you. When you are so frustrated, just think it's brain cancer. Okay? And it can help you get through that moment. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Now, they repeat questions, and they don't forget what they did yesterday or what they did 5 minutes ago. Okay? Now, you got to find support because you need a break. That whole group right there is a support group. Your children may not know you need help, but your children are still afraid of you, so make them help you. Okay? You can get respite. Respite care means you want to go see a grandbaby. You haven't seen brand new grandbaby. But you can't take your loved one. So the communities will take them for a week, 2 weeks, for a month to give you a chance to go do your vacation or go see family. Your person with dementia doesn't count time the way you and I do. They won't realize how long you're gone. Okay? Now, another woman said, she was on a webinar I did, and she said, well, I want to go on a cruise, and my son says nothing's wrong with his father. Any of y'all got a kid that says that? She packed a suitcase for 10 days for Daddy. She packed 10 days worth of medication. She booked a 10-day cruise. She showed up on her son's doorstep, knocked on the door. When he came to the door, she said, here's your daddy. Here's 10 days of clothes. Here's 10 days of medicine. Nothing's wrong with him, so you get him, and I'm going to go on a cruise. She said when she came back, her son went, Mama, something's terribly wrong with Daddy. They haven't walked in your shoes. They don't understand what you do every day. They don't understand the stress you're under. And some of it is you're not telling them you need help. One of the biggest complaints from adult children is my parents won't tell me what's going on, and I want to help. And some of it is you look like you got it all together. But we know underneath the water, you're paddling just as hard as you can. Dementia caregivers remind me of somebody trying to paddle up Niagara Falls. You going to make it? So do you want us to just wave at you and say, have a good time, or do you want us to throw you a rope and get you to the side of the bank? Okay? This place gets you to the side of the bank. Teach your friends, teach your family. We do not ask them questions. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? And as you approach them, they get louder and louder and angrier. If she's a fighter, what's she going to do when I finally get up in her face? What was that, Kathy? Kathy, why don't you tell everybody that really loud? Pop you in the face. And who caused the behavior to happen? Me. Now, every one of us has a family member who thinks they're smarter than we are, and they're determined that if they just tell them enough, they'll get it. Don't let them do that. That's the family member you've got to explain they've got brain cancer. That's how you're going to have to phrase it, because otherwise they simply don't understand. You don't look sick with dementia till you've lost an entire pound of your brain. Okay? Everybody with me? Okay. Now, you got to be an advocate. You ask me, what can you do? Be an advocate. Let others know your loved one has dementia. It's not, what did we used to do? Leprosy? Okay? We take care of people. Don't be ashamed. They have a disease, and they probably didn't cause the disease. We don't know how these diseases happen. Ask for help. Guess what country doesn't ask for help as part of our socialization? Americans. We're the Americans. We don't ask for help. We come help you. We've saved the world twice, over and over, right? Of the Americans, do you think the Texans ask for help? No. At any minute, we might bust free and just take over Mexico. You don't know. Y'all don't know what's going on in Texas, but we're crazy down there, and we got lots of guns. Okay. Keep a journal. Don't keep the bad stuff. Write down the happy stuff. Write down when they say something funny, because people, even with brain damage, are still funny. And if you were funny, you're still funny. Keep a gratitude journal. 3 times or every day, I want you to write down at least 3 things you're grateful for. In 21 days, your own immune system will begin to boost. And as older folks, we need a strong immune system. I don't care if every day you write, I love my cat, I love my cat, I love my cat, but I want you to do it 21 days in a row. Okay? Understand hospitals are not trained for dementia care. They are trained to walk in, set a tray of food down, and then come back an hour later and pick that untouched tray of food up. If your loved one's in the hospital, you've got to make arrangements for somebody to go feed them. They come out of the hospital in worse shape than they went in. And a huge part of it is that. Okay? Now, you got to build yourself a plan. You've got to get a group together. Now, we usually think of this as doing this for somebody with cancer, but in cancer, the person knows they have cancer. You've got to reach back, because your person with dementia doesn't realize anything's wrong, and they want to know, why are these people keeping coming to the house and bothering them? So you start early. Stop correcting them. How many of you would enjoy a day with me where all I do is tell you what you're doing wrong? And I can do that. I've done it before. The brain doesn't know it's sick, and it's an insult to suggest to someone their brain's not working. So every time you thought you were being helpful and you said you're doing it wrong, did it help? Just made it worse. Okay? They pick up on your mood. If you're in a bad mood, you'll make them in a bad mood. If you're agitated, you will agitate them. They are not in denial. Take a picture of this. They are not in denial. They are not lying. They are not faking. They are not showing off. They are not pretending. They are reacting to social skills. Social skills we learned. The first day we were born, we had social skills being demonstrated for us. By the time you were 2, you were supposed to say a social conversation. I say, hi, how are you? And what do you say? And why do you say fine? No, because your mama told you, I don't really care. If you actually told me what was going on in your day, I'd run away from you. The conversation is, hi, how are you? And you say, I'm fine. How's your work? My work is fine. How's your family? They're fine. They're fine. How's your weather? Fine. My weather's fine too. How many of you have been sitting next to your loved one, you've watched them have that conversation, hang up the phone, then your cell phone goes off and somebody in your family goes, I don't know why you keep pretending something's wrong with mama. I just talked to her and guess what? She's just, and you're sitting next to her and you know that she doesn't even know she was on the phone. And she certainly doesn't know who she was talking to. And they think social skills mean cognition, and it doesn't. The other place is you go to the doctor. The doctor comes in wearing the doctor's uniform. And on the day you went to the doctor, you got your person all dressed up. You shaved them. You put on makeup or lipstick. You got them all dressed up. Fed them breakfast. You drove them across town. You got a little brain chemistry going. And then the doctor walked in and started the social skill. The doctor said, hi, how are you? And your loved one said, I'm fine, how are you? And you wanted to kick the snot out of them. Okay. Now, the other thing is, do you realize when you go to the doctor, you don't sit side by side? Are you really going to sit side by side and tell the doctor what this person's doing? You want to be back here. That way you can go. Okay. If you fill out the paperwork in the back of your itty bitty book and it's all observational, you can hand it to your doctor and your doctor knows what this person's actually doing at home because it's all medical paperwork. Okay. Do you really want to drive home with the person you told the doctor that they're not bathing? That's going to be a fun ride home, isn't it? Even 5 miles here takes an hour and a half to go. And why is y'all speed limit only 25 and 30? Where I come from, it's 85. Okay, so not in denial, not lying, not faking, not showing off. That is social skills that they're using, and they're not pretending. That takes a 3-pound brain. Okay, so things that you may have misunderstood about how the disease works, don't beat yourself up for it. Maya Angelou said, we do the best we can until we learn more, and then we do better. So you'll be better. Okay. Now, your caregiving circle is going to be family, friends that haven't ghosted you. How many of you have already been ghosted? Reach back out to old friends. Make new friends. Invite your social group over, your social support group over. Your caregiving people also include your professionals. And in Sarasota, Florida, you have one of the nation's leading people. I live in Texas, folks. Y'all can come look for me. You'll never find me. I live in the middle of nowhere. She's right here. And she can do medicine and I can't. She's pretty good. Okay. Town Square. The purpose of town squares was to give families who didn't have millions of dollars for memory care a chance to have respite and to have care that wasn't going to leave you with no money for the rest of your life. It is a stopgap. And then you have Catherine McDermott. I don't even know what all the letters behind her name means. I just know she's really, really good at what she does. Now, take a picture of this. That's my phone number. You can call me. I won't answer, but you can call me. You'll feel better just because you made the effort, but I will call you back. Okay? Most people I call back on Saturdays and Sundays when I'm back in Texas. For normal aging, I want you to read the book, The Mature Mind by Dr. Cohen, who was a professor at Yale. Dr. Cohen also wrote The Creative Age. Now, I warn you, when you read these two books, you will go up to the first teenager you see and kick them. Okay? These are two of the few books written about normal aging, and normal aging is what most of us are going to do. Go to YouTube. YouTube has the mindful movement on it. Breath meditation is the best exercise for your brain, and all you're doing is breathing and trying not to think, but just to breathe. You can go and see it for free on the mindful movement. I use the 20-minute meditations for the morning, and if I'm having trouble sleeping, I use her 2-hour to 8-hour sleep meditations. You can go to Deepak Chopra. He's a guru of, y'all could come over if you can't see the screen, if you need to take a picture. Okay. You can go to Deepak Chopra's website, pay him $600 and learn meditation, or you can go to YouTube and watch 400 videos for free. I like the free. Therapy in a nutshell. If you find that you are thinking, what if, that's anxiety. If you're thinking coulda, woulda, shoulda, that's depression. This gal is a licensed therapist out of Utah. She is wonderful. She does 10 to 20-minute nuggets of therapy that actually help. I told my own therapist if I'd found her first, you wouldn't have gotten a dime out of me, lady. And then your support groups are critical. They are critical. They're the people that will be standing by you when everyone else is gone. Now, who in here is left-handed? I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you. Right back there, yay. Left-handed people are smarter than right-handed people. Do you know who figured that out? Left-handed people. We had a meeting. So left-handed people, this is not for us. We already have to operate all their stupid right-handed, built for right-handed people stuff. Right-handed people, start brushing your teeth with your left hand and be very careful because you will gouge your jaw. Okay? Use your non-dominant hand to comb your hair. I'd tell you to use it to shave, but I don't want you to cut yourself to death. Okay? Use your memory. What'd you have for lunch yesterday? Yeah, bran flakes, corn flakes. I knew a cattle buyer for 50 years. Every day for lunch, she had, this is my Texas, Viennese sausage. Y'all probably call it by the correct name, but in Texas, that's pronounced Viennese. Saltine crackers and rat cheese. Y'all know what rat cheese is? It's the yellow cheese wrapped in a red wrapper, called rat cheese in Texas. And so he could answer that question, go back 50 years. Every single answer would be Viennese sausage, crackers, and rat cheese. Okay, but do this for yourself. Try to start remembering what you did eat for as many days back as you can go. That's brain exercise, easy to do. Social is critical. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and join a strip club and hang out in dark, smoky bars. Okay, join your support group. Reach out. Why the strip club? Oh my gosh, good Lord. I wasn't prepared for that one. Let me tell you why. When I was leaving Virginia at the last rest stop, I shattered my ankle and I was in a cast for a year. And a lady with dementia said, "Hun, what'd you do to your leg?" And I said, "Well, Mama doesn't want me to tell you, but I've been working as a stripper. And I was moving into my money-making move, the butterfly effect, and a jealous colleague greased the bowl." And that lady couldn't determine whether or not I was being truthful or not. But the story made sense. Yeah. I wasn't actually thinking about doing the stripping. But hey, move your body. That's the next one. Move your body. And then how many of you are getting sleep? Okay. If you're not getting deep sleep, your brain cannot clean itself at night. And if you go 3 months without regular routine sleep, you've now developed insomnia. And if you don't get regular routine sleep, you get Alzheimer's. If you have depression, and the test for depression for you is in the back of your book, if you don't want to go get the medicine for depression, you need to get some long-term care insurance because you're going to get Alzheimer's. We don't understand the connection. We just know that there is one. Okay? So you've got to get sleep. Does that make sense? So talk to your doctor. Okay? Now, there's 5 things we can do for a person with dementia. Okay, we cannot stop the disease. We cannot regrow brain cells. There's no medicine right now that we've got that we can guarantee something good is going to happen, but we can do this. The number one thing we can do for your loved ones is make sure they get socialization. And then these are all in the back of your book, and they're all observational because you can't ask a person with brain damage to give you the correct answer. That doesn't even make sense. The pain ad is pain assessment in advanced dementia. 50% of the behaviors of a person with dementia are untreated chronic pain. The Cornell scale for depression and dementia, if your loved one's on an antidepressant and they fail this test, the antidepressant isn't working. It's either the wrong one or the wrong dosage. Okay? If they're on an anxiety medicine and they fail the Hamilton anxiety tool, time to adjust the medicine. And then if you've ever wondered how do they come up with psychotics, what makes them determine that your loved one needs an antipsychotic, read the brief psychiatric rating scale. That's the last page in your book. Okay? What you're going to realize is most of your colleagues and a lot of your relatives need an antipsychotic. That's what you're going to realize. That's what we all realize. Now, I want you to take a picture of this because this is what I can give you to make sure that you do not develop dementia and you do not develop heart disease and you live to be in your 90s. The number one thing you have to do is exercise an hour a day. Do not get addicted to opiates. Anybody in here addicted? Good, you got that one going. Do not be Jim Cummings. Don't use tobacco. Okay? Got to get enough sleep and alcohol. You know, the last time I was here, I probably said, guys, you can have 2 drinks a day. Ladies, you can have 1. The new research says you should have none. Okay? And guess which state led the nation during the pandemic for drinking? Texas. We're number 1. We're number 1. Guess which nation is leading the state in drinking after the pandemic? We're number one. We're number one. And we don't care what we're number one for. For a long time, we were number one for the use of antipsychotics